This is not a highlight video. Oh my goodness, what a match that was. 10-8 in the fifth. Novak Djokovic over Rafa Nadal, advancing to the Wimbledon final where he will meet Kevin Anderson. For Novak, it's the biggest win he's had, and this is not even debatable, since his win over Andy Murray in the Roland Garros final to cap off his career Grand Slam. Novak Djokovic, ahead of schedule in my opinion, is back, and he did it in vintage fashion, really at the end of the day, dominating this match with his bread and butter, having to do nothing completely out of the ordinary, nothing really special for him in terms of what he normally does. He dominated this match with his return and his backhand, one of the greatest returners we've ever seen, in my opinion. You know, and I'm sure, you know, Agassi might have something to say about it, but in my opinion, one of the best backhands we've ever seen. And those two shots were just on point, high percentage, and they really, to a large extent, took over the match. With that being said, and I'm going to start with big picture, I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to get into these minute details that could have swung things, but for now, still, big picture. One of the major things that I noticed is how much harder Rafa had to work due to his, I guess, the gap between the serve and return battle. Novak, you know, returning so many more of such a higher percentage of Rafa's first serves. In fact, in the fourth set, I'm pretty sure Rafa only won 58% of his first serve points. When he got his first serve in. Now, he actually protected his second serve really well, but his first serve, Novak had no issue with it. And then in the fifth set, Rafa, and it could have won him this match, and it could have went either way. And if Rafa won this match, I would sit here right now and I would tell you, the reason Rafa won the match is because he ramped up that first serve. Because it's going the other way, you know, in hindsight, it just wasn't really enough. But Novak's return was so much better than Rafa's return. In the fifth set, on the contrary, Novak won 85% of first serve points. There were really only two games where Rafa got a lot of Novak's serves in. It was the early game that he broke, and then it was a game at 7-all, which I'll go over in more detail a little bit later. At 7-all, Rafa made a bunch of returns, but still, Novak could rely on at least 2 points a game unreturned serves. Rafa, not so much. You know, in a few of the games, he got some. He did ramp up that first serve in the fifth set, but for example, in the game he broke, he didn't get a single free point off of his serve. And even worse, Novak would return it right at his feet half the time, and he was able to take control of rallies right off the return. So that's sort of what did it. Overall, you start to realize, you know, if you go back and thinking about kind of what I thought worked for Rafa, counterattack forehands down the line, spectacular drop shots, approaching the net. These are high degree of difficulty shots. When you're looking at counterattack forehands down the line, that is a shot that, for the most part, you shouldn't even try to hit. But for Rafa, it was a necessary shot for him. That's the shot he has to make in order to win this match. Whereas for Novak, it's much higher percentage shots, much easier. You know, for him to take the ball on the rise and dominate with his backhand cross court, whether that be from a defensive position or an offensive position. His backhand cross court, changing direction with his backhand down the line. Novak is so good at these things, it's high percentage for him. But for Rafa, it seemed like he needed to peak in order to gain an edge. And he did peak a few times in this match. He peaked at the end of the fourth set. He peaked at the beginning of the fifth set. He just couldn't find that peak at the end of the fifth set, whereas Novak seemed to be continuously putting more pressure on Rafa due to his game, which matches up so well against Rafa on a fast court. It is why he is now 13-2 on non-clay courts since 2011 against Rafa Nadal. It's because he simply is able to do more with his serve and play higher percentage tennis in a way that suits him. In the fourth set, now I'll kind of go set by set a little bit. In the fourth set, Novak had a huge opportunity at 3-4, Rafa serving, and Novak actually missed a few returns, and he was so good on the return, obviously, but he got really frustrated, yelled at his box a little bit, lost focus, injected some confidence into Rafa Nadal, and that was the last time that Novak had a lapse in focus, really, for the rest of the match. Because, and I thought that this match may be decided between the ears. I thought it might be decided with the mental, but Novak was so level-headed, so focused, no lapses for the entirety of that fifth set, even when he went down. So the end of that fourth set was the last time where there was really a big momentum swing where Novak's level suddenly dropped. And I thought that Rafa did most of the backhand in the fourth set. Most of the damage in the fourth set with his backhand. I really think on this surface, this is another thing I think I'd be hammering home if Rafa ended up winning. On this surface, Rafa's backhand is better than his forehand. That's where I'm at this point, and it's something almost radical to come out of my mouth at this point, that to say that Rafa's backhand is better on this forehand. But on this surface, it's what I truly believe. Not sure if you guys agree with that or not. So I thought that his backhand was huge in that fourth set, really took over. In the fifth set, we got the peak Rafa. Rafa, was hitting his forehand down the line, which is the key shot against Novak to open up the point. He cannot get loopy with his forehand cross court, which he often did. He cannot hammer away at Novak's backhand, because Novak's backhand will ultimately prevail. So I thought in the fifth set he had that peak, but then he had a lull. He gave up the break, and then for the rest of the fifth set, it was just point by point by point by point, a few points deciding things. So let's zoom in here and let's look at what decided this. I thought the game at 7-all was Rafa's best chance. He made a lot of returns in this game. We'll start at 15-40. Rafa has two break points, right? So you could say, now the scoreboard pressure made it so that every break point Novak had was a match point, but every break point Rafa had just a break point. So if you weight break points equally, which is a little bit unrealistic, but still, Rafa had 3 break points, which, were arguably match points. They really weren't, though, because Novak can break back. But 15-40, Rafa's return, very short. Backhand down the line forces a Rafa error where Rafa just can extend. He tried to defend with a slice backhand but couldn't. So there you go. On his back heel right off the return. Then at 30-40, an ace by Novak. So once again, the serve coming into play. At deuce, Rafa, forehand winner down the line. It was the money shot. It was the shot he had to hit over and over again, but such a low percentage shot. For Rafa, somewhat high percentage, but in general, just a more difficult shot to hit than what Novak is asked to hit. Then at deuce, add Nadal, a deep backhand cross court, and then this was it. Nadal approaches with a backhand cross court, a blistering backhand, something that we saw so often, and Novak makes the pass cross court. That was the shot of the match at 7-all. Novak's most important shot that he hit the entire match, a beautiful pass. And then it was a long game. It dragged out. I thought that Rafa, I know the next point after that was burned by another backhand cross court by Novak, and Novak just kind of fought that one out. The game Novak broke at, it was 8-9, Rafa serving. At love all, Novak made a return at Rafa's feet. Rafa tried to pick it up, half volley, couldn't. It was wide. So keep in mind, no free points, no easy points. Then at love 15, second serve. Novak, they got into a rally. Novak actually hit a great drop shot on his backhand on the run, and it set up an easy pass. That was the best point he played in that last game. Then love 30. Rafa hits a nice serve. He gets a ball down the middle, an attackable ball. Where does Rafa go with it, though? To Novak's backhand. And Novak burns him cross court, and Rafa actually slips here. Rafa's pulled out wide on his forehand. He slips and he can't recover. I think he hits like a defensive backhand. I don't know if he misses the next shot or if Novak puts it away on the next ball. Then love 40, triple match point. Once again, though, Rafa gets to step into a forehand and he's burned by Novak's cross-court backhand. I wish Rafa would go to Djokovic's forehand. However, I can't knock him because in terms of shot selection, I think Rafa realized what he had to do. He realized he had to go down the line a lot. He did go down the line a lot. I think when the pressure really mounted, though, he went back to what he knows, the directionals that are ingrained in his brain, what he's comfortable with, and that is against really everyone. You open it up with the angle forehand out wide to the righty backhand. Against Novak, it just doesn't work. Full disclosure here, I always do my videos in one take live, but I stopped this one because I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. And at the end of the day, there's more things I can delve into, but this was such a nuanced match, so many big moments, so much going on. What I'm going to do is open it up to you guys in the comments. I will do comment response on Monday for Monday match analysis, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot of points that you guys can bring up in the comment section that I haven't addressed, and a lot of things I haven't thought about. If you disagree with something, all of that, I know you guys will have a lot of thoughts on what I've said already and maybe things that I haven't said. So I'm just going to stop myself there. Not much more to say other than thank you to Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal, both great champions, for putting on a tremendous tennis display. Look out for a finals preview that'll be coming out soon. Until then, I will see you next time.